Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
So,
So,
trying to think of something. I ain't got nothing going on in the world.
so I will say that just the last week or so, I've worked Monday through today, just Thursday, Monday through Thursday, and plan on going into work tomorrow, which I had originally not really planned on working because I assumed my wife was going to be, going into labor. And I got to work on Monday, and I sent an email out that went to my boss, and it went to the CNO about, like, I was answering a question that they had.
What's
that was
CNO?
funny because
Is that Chief Network Officer?
Chief Nursing Officer.
Oh, nursing. Okay.
Yeah. So they both wrote me back, and they're like, "Oh, you're here!" Like, so no baby. As a side part of the answer to the email, but both interested to know where the baby is at, which is always nice to know your people at your bosses and stuff are worried about the well-being and where everything's at, and they want to know all this stuff, which feels good. But then 10 minutes later and throughout the day, I will tell you, I've not worked harder than in the last couple of years than I have in this past week, because they keep giving me these ridiculous tasks that they all of a sudden are like, there's a lot of like random stuff happening at the hospital too. It's not just like they decided that I just need tasks. There's certain events happening and all this stuff that we're getting Joint Commission reviews and Department of Health and all this stuff. So they're giving me all these tasks that they're like, "Oh, you're back. Good. She didn't have the baby yet. Oh, any day now. So, by the way, I'm going to put you on this brand new initiative that we need to do in the next, 2 weeks." It's like, it doesn't quite work this way.
That's really weird. Like, oh, we're going to put you this new thing, but you're about to be gone. Like, the fact that you're here now is one thing, but that means that at any moment, you're not going to be here.
Right. And then my boss, I had a boss, and I was like, I'm going to be, I'm here now, but it's because I'm, my wife hasn't gone into labor yet. So until she does, I'm not starting my, my time off, because there's no baby to bond with for baby bonding time off until that happens. So,
is that what they call it?
About all these
baby bonding?
Yeah, well, so I guess it's through FMLA. It turns out I don't get short-term disability like I was originally led to believe. Only women get it for maternity at my place, but the guys don't get it for paternity, though somebody had told me they did, that I needed to sign up through my short-term disability to get it. But it really only goes to FMLA. It's basically just you have guaranteed leave, up to 6 weeks of guaranteed leave for baby bonding time. But it's not paid out of short-term disability. You're responsible for it all through your own PTO, or it's just unpaid leave.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't for the first baby. I only took off 2 weeks. I didn't even think that there was an option for me to get paid. And then I got my hopes up thinking there was, and I missed out last time. But it turns out there's just not. That's just the way it is. And we can talk about gender equality and things like that if you'd like to, but that wasn't where I was going.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I feel like people get really mad at white males whenever we talk about these sort of things. Like, we're not allowed to fill in
white male privilege is going to be the thing that we have to negatively deal with in our, like, my children are going to have to deal with. Yours is white female privilege. Maybe that'll come up at some point too. But yeah, white male privilege is definitely going to be a driving force in the next 15 and 20 years. That it might actually make things difficult for.
So, okay, while we're on this subject, I talked the other day about my Discord having a politics channel, and they were talking about, someone was trying to say that at this point in time there is there is nothing different between black and white people, and that black people have the same exact opportunities 100% as white people. And they were talking about for some reason the subject got brought up because of that Catholic school where the boys were being assholes in public.
And I'm sure it came up because that one CNN reporter, and she called the one guy out by saying that he only got white male privilege, and he was like, "What do you mean that I've only got to where I'm at by having white male privilege?" And she was like, "By being a white male, you have white male privilege." And he was like, "I'm not white, right?"
That's actually really funny. I didn't know about this.
You didn't hear?
It was right. I do remember this now. It was a black guy, right? What percentage of Americans do you think are black?
Percentage of Americans? Yes. God, I don't even know what percentage are white, but I would say about 40.
40. Okay. What percentage do you think are white? I know the numbers.
About 40.
Okay. The actual number based on the last census, 76% of Americans are white, 12.6% are black.
I thought black and white was a lot closer.
I did too.
Then, like,
I was blown away by these numbers. Blown away.
76% are white and 12% are black?
Yes. This is the last census data.
Holy crap. Maybe I'm living in a bubble.
Exactly. That's how I felt. I felt exactly that. I really thought it was very close to like equal in percentage. And I think it's a perception-based thing because it seems like the black community tends to go towards like cities or whatever. So like, for instance, like where you're living, it is probably completely different than like if you looked at like rural America. But I honestly had no idea. And so then like I was trying to point out to these people in my Discord, I was like, if there is inequality, it's because there are still racist people in the world. No matter what you do, there's going to be racist people. And it's not just racist white people. There's racist black people and racist Asians and racist everyone's. But if 76% is white, you're at a disadvantage. You're not, statistically, you're at a disadvantage. Like, because someone was trying to say that there should be equal enrollment of white and black people at this Catholic school. And I'm like, if 76% of the world or the United States is white, you're not going to have equal enrollment because that would mean a disproportionate amount of black people are suddenly enrolling in this Catholic school based on the total number of people that exist.
So... well, I can't tell by your statement. So for one, I'm still shocked by the figure like that. I feel like I'm stupid for not.
I am
having my eyes more wide open to the percentages. And I don't know how it's not a figure I've ever decided to look up before because maybe I just thought for so long that it was so much closer. Mm-hmm. And granted, yes, I know, the blacks are minorities, so they can't obviously have the same percentage as, the whites. I get that. I didn't mean 40 and 40 on the nose, but I thought it was a lot closer to like a 40% white, 35 maybe percent black or something like that.
Right.
And then everybody else kind of covered the other percentages. But I'm not sure based on your statement. So you're for or against quotas?
No, I don't think. What I'm trying to say is my Discord trying to say that there should be an equal percentage of white and black. And what I'm saying is that'd be very difficult to even do if there's not that number of people that exist in the nation. Like, how do you have a 50?
If you really want an equal percentage, yeah, that would be very hard. I guess the only way to make it fair for a quote unquote quota, if it was a fair quota, would be to say that the same percentage breakdown would need to happen at all places. So that Catholic school should have 76% white people and
right,
16% black people or whatever it is.
It was 8% is the total number the Catholic school had of black people. And I said, I think that's pretty fucking close to like the 12.6% in the United States. I think there's equality there, basically. Personally,
that's really the last census data.
Mm-hmm. Where's my phone? I'll pull it up again.
Say, if I wasn't in a spot where I was going to get killed by zombies right now,
you'd be looking it up.
Look it up. That seems so low.
Right?
So where are you on quotas and things like that for like college admissions that used to give you a leg up if you're a minority or just a job?
I mean, it's one of those things that I was listening to a quote by Martin Luther King the other day, and he was doing an interview with, I think it was ABC News. It was either ABC, no, it was CBS. It was CBS News. And they asked them, why he thinks it's that black people got an unfair disadvantage in the world whenever they were freed and all this. And he pointed out that the black people are the only people that have been forced into this nation. They were brought here in chains. Like they didn't choose to come here. But then when they were emancipated, it wasn't, and they were emancipated at a time whenever we were giving away land to European immigrants all across the United States. But we didn't do that for the black people. And so white people could say all you want, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But whenever you don't even have boots, you can't really do that. Like so they were, even though they were freed, they weren't really freed because they didn't have employment, they didn't have money, they didn't have a land or home.
They didn't have a means to actually live.
Exactly.
The place that they're quote unquote free in.
Right. So you can say
they're
they
basically
were free,
like they're experiencing homelessness.
Yes, they were experiencing homelessness and joblessness and a lot of race hate. So last census data, white alone is 72.4%, black or African American 12.6%, Asian 4.8%. There's more. Show me the 6 more rows, please. I'm clicking this. Show me. God damn it. I had to click a link and it brought me to another page that's like,
it's like, these numbers are wrong.
no, these numbers are still the same. All right, Native American and Alaskan natives 0.9%, Native Hawaiians and other Pacific 0.2%, 2 or more races 2.9%, some other race altogether 6.2%.
So now I'm trying to remember why we started this conversation.
Yeah, you were talking. You had another point that you were bringing up, but somehow you got me.
Completely different point.
Yeah. You reminded me of the census data that blew my mind.
What the hell was I talking about?
God, I do not know. You were talking about something at work, weren't you? Even
I was, and I don't remember what that thing. So I was talking about getting extra work from my boss.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically that I'm there. Oh, and I was talking. No.
Yeah, I don't know what you said that brought me here, and I don't know where I derailed you from.
Oh dear God, this is terrible. Like, what the hell was the point I was trying to make about? That I'm not on leave, getting extra work from the boss. I had a conversation with her about it, and she was having me get my other people to do it. No, hold on. Once the sun comes up, we're gonna figure this out.
When the sun rises, my knowledge.
Well, yeah, when the sun rises, this will all be understood. Let's see. So, and the way it will be understood is because I am going to recording cycle, and
what are you doing?
Guys, I'm going to my recording cycle, and I'm gonna go watch back part of the episode. What the hell was it that we were just talking?
So have you stopped
the
recording?
joy of living in this type of world right now.
Oh God.
Of course, I'm doing so many different things. My computer's like, I don't want to do this for you right now. I'm just gonna go really slow to make you look like an idiot.
Did you stop recording to do this?
Nope.
Okay. Well, while you're looking that up, do you feel, now that you now know what percentage of the United States has which relates with which, is there other things that changes your point of view on?
I mean, potential. Yeah. So kind of, yeah. Because I honestly, before was of the mindset, and you know, I'm afraid that my video. I hope it actually worked right, because I'm trying to watch back my video and it's not playing sounds.
That's no good.
No, it's not good. You know, we were talking about these sound problems that we had.
Yeah.
Hopefully, sounds are working. This isn't like muted or something. Did I mute? Not even. No. It's definitely there. Oh my God. But if this is really weird. This got to be one of those settings. Because I'm hitting play and I'm looking in the volume mixer and I'm watching the levels in.
So there's audio there. You're just not hearing.
There's audio there. It just I can't hear it. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm not gonna be able to figure this out for you. But so yes, it kind of does, because I always used to be under the impression that it would, some of the quota stuff used to kind of upset me, because I'm thinking, a lot of times when you're telling a company or whatever that you have to hire, or you're incentivized to hire people who are a different, race or religion or whatever it is that's different, that you're telling somebody to hire based on. I always thought it was kind of like this unfair thing. And I'll take the example, like, I used to be in IT. IT is a very male dominated field.
Mm-hmm.
I am now in nursing. It is a very female dominated field. I have no questions that I've gotten some advantages by being a male in the nursing field, and I've been taking
Just
over
so
jobs
there's diversity,
that other
basically.
well, maybe not even just because there's diversity, but because it was. So yes, in a way that there's diversity, but because they're like, oh my god, like I worked on a nursing unit where I was the only male that worked on the nursing unit for like ever since I started there through like the next 6 months or whatever, where the next person got there. And I'm not saying they did it because they're like, we need diversity, quote unquote. They were just like, oh, it's a different type of candidate. Let's get this person in here and like,
Right.
mix things up, or just being like so. And I've taken advantage of that, knowing I'm taking advantage of that. And it's because, for one, I came from the IT field before, where I definitely feel I've seen women in before. Yes, I've seen women in it before. I've seen women get promotions over other more qualified males, because you could only guess that they were trying to get more diversity in the upper levels of the field. I don't know if that's what it was, but that's what it looks like from the outside, And I think the same thing when you hear about places getting a black person or a Native American or whatever gets promoted over this other more qualified individual, and how quotas are wrong. And I used to completely agree. It always just like straight up based on merit. Best person for the job is what it always should be. But when you're really dealing with a disadvantage of, a 12%, and it's already been proven how minorities and get like the education that they're given, or they're more predisposed, like the low socioeconomic status and all that stuff, presupposed to like lower SAT scores, because SATs and ACTs are written basically catered toward white people. And African Americans and blacks, Indians, all that technically get have been shown to get lower scores because the tests are not written toward them.
Yeah, right.
Then you start to like go, okay, there's multiple disadvantages like piling up on these people. Maybe it does kind of try to make it right by including these quotas.
Right. Well, like one of the arguments I was making in my Discord was like, let's say that racism is now at a level where only 1%, just 1% of white people are racist, and they're in a position where they can influence other people. 1% of 76% is a hell of a lot more than 1% of 12%.
No, it's the opposite.
No, like 1% of, if you take the total number of white people in America, if only 1% of those are, like let's just say there was 1,000 people in America. So 760 of those are white. 120 of those are black. 1% of 760 is a lot bigger number than 1% of 120.
I get what you're saying. Yes, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you could technically do the math on that two different ways, but when you explained it, I understand what you mean. The total number, let's say there's 12.
If there's 100 people,
and there's 76 white people,
right?
1% of the black people is 1.2 people. And 1% of the white people is 7.6 people.
Right. So yeah.
So yes, I get you.
So yeah, like even if there's equal amounts of racism on both sides, there's just more white people. There's just you're at a disadvantage because there's so many damn white people.
I can't eat. I'm gonna die. Why is the skeleton not on fire, not dying?
He sounds like he's on fire.
Thank God he just died.
He didn't die. He's hitting me.
He didn't die? He wants to try to hide because he had me down to like 1.5 hearts.
I killed him. He's dead now.
Good. Dead guy walking. Or no longer walking.
He's dead guy forever.
Now I want to know what the hell I was talking about at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I derailed it with my...
Well, no, it's not. It wasn't even that important. This is way more... I'm more... because I can't remember what the heck it was, and it's driving me insane. And I can't watch the video back to find out what it was. Just trying to think. It was talking about getting extra work from the boss that I shouldn't be here for. Moving it on to my team or designee. And we somehow got into black and white people. So I will tell you, and this is something that I constantly do at all, but I kind of look at it and go, okay, nobody can tell me, because I'm always worried in my profession, especially that I'm in a leadership role, male leader in the nursing role, especially with things that are going on now. I hope that there's never anything misconstrued as like sexual harassment, or that I have white privilege and I'm being like racist in my hiring decisions or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I have 6 or 7 people that work for me now. There is one white person and no men.
Wow. I wonder now what the percentage of females to males there are in the United States. Let's find this data out.
Isn't it more like 52-48 or something like that?
I don't even know anymore, man. I don't want to make any assumptions after, because I was flabbergasted when I looked at the census.
Turns out there's 8% females.
right. The fact the human race is still making it is a miracle. Percentage of males to females. I do feel like the females outnumber the males, though. Males to females.
While you're looking that up, I thought it was funny. I was having a conversation with somebody in my fire department. We're talking about, my next son being born. And he's like, oh, you're so lucky that you're going to have 2 sons. He's like, my biggest fear is my daughter. And later in life, I have to like worry if she ever is going to come home, 16 and pregnant, and how you deal with that. And I said, you got to remember, if your daughter comes home at 16 and pregnant,
there's a son out there somewhere that's 16 and pregnant, or who knows?
She's going to be 16 and have that kid. But that guy who got her pregnant could have gotten her as well as 10 other girls pregnant at the same time.
Damn, I never thought about that. That is even way worse.
Yeah, not sure I want to. I'm going to be worried about my son getting 16 girls pregnant all at once. So he's going to have like 16 children coming all at once that he's going to be responsible for. Like, I'm not really going to be worried about that, but that's the other side of the coin to look at for people who are like, oh, I'll be happy you have boys and not girls because this is what you have to worry about. No, there's plenty of other shit to worry about with the boys, too.
Yeah, females slightly outnumber us, 50.9 to 49.1.
Okay, so that statistic hasn't changed much throughout the years.
Oh, wait, hold on. That was 2000 census. It's still almost the same, 49.2. Males are getting slightly to 50.8.
Wait, males are 50.8 now?
No. Females are 50.8. So we gained a 0.1 on them in the war.
in the battle. The battle wages on. We will see if we will eventually win the war of numbers, apparently. It is kind of interesting that women outnumber men for quite a while. Why the male privilege thing is...
I think that stems from, so even though there's an equal percentage of both, this is historical a problem where males were expected to work and females were expected to rear the children. And so it was the same thing where when you look at like black people and throughout history, there was a period where they weren't expected and did not have the training or weren't expected to go to school, all of those things. So they just were disadvantaged through time. Whereas now, I think that is correcting itself much quicker than race problems are.
Oh, isn't that what we were talking about? We were talking about male privilege.
Were we?
Yeah, because you got into the Martin Luther King quote.
Well, no, I got into that quote in the middle of. I'd already talked about census data at that point.
Oh. Yeah. I'm gonna watch this video back right when we're done recording and be like, "What the hell?"
Right? Yeah.
We're both in the drop off. I was like, "Oh, are you just coming to visit?" Oh no, y'all.
Very full. But yeah, I don't know, like, if it'll ever correct itself. Honestly, like the race thing, like even as like our kids grow up and like
You mean the privileged piece? Because I don't think it'll ever be that like the black population all of a sudden is greater than the white population,
or even equal, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, based on the numbers that you just gave, yeah, I expect the universe to explode before that thing changes over with that much of a disparity in there.
Yeah. But I do think racism is getting better, but I do think that it's still, I mean, as I think that, I see, I mean, people are going to get upset about this one, but I mean, to me, like the
reverse racism.
Well, no, the MAGA hat thing is just another sign of racism to me. Like, it didn't start out that way, but the message that Trump spread so heavily seemed to be seated in so much racism that it seems that like that hat to me represents racism more than a Confederate flag does at this day and age. But again, this is opinion based. But I have read a few opinion articles on the same subject that shared my opinion. But you know,
so right. But I also think, and I'm not saying that like it's because when the MAGA hats originally came out, I didn't them as looking like as a racist thing. I thought it was
I didn't either at first, for sure.
Like, but now I can see where that like might have come from. So everything can be so misconstrued, and I do think that that's part of the problem that we have now is we've gone so far to the other side of racism in certain circumstances. Obviously there's still racism that exists and it's terrible. I wish it didn't, and we are way better in that respect than we ever used to be as a culture. But I do think there's so many people that have swung so far the other way that they construe everything as racist, and any little thing you do,
I think that's what you were talking about. Actually, was
just like that one person who said that the guy was that he had white privilege, and it turns out he was black, and she didn't know that, and
right,
like that's immediately she went to white privilege, and he's like, I'm not even white, so because that's where some people's minds immediately go. They want to swing the pendulum so far.
Right.
Is sometimes it accurate? Absolutely. Do I think it gets way too misconstrued at times? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
sure very popular comments that we're making to everybody. Like there will be no.
We haven't lost anyone on this day.
Definitely not. Right on point with everything that we say.
Right on target. I do wonder how many people also, because I feel like I almost felt like I was, I don't know, racist is the wrong word, but I felt very ignorant when I saw the census data. I will say that.
I like I said, I felt like I've been living something.
Like, I think part of that is like perception. Like if you go to Atlanta, like if you take the same census data and you just like section off to Atlanta, it might be the opposite. Probably not the opposite, but it might be way closer to 50-50. Because that's just how or like Philadelphia, like places like that, even DC maybe. But then if you
I doubt DC's 50-50 because technically I think all these politicians like have residence here,
right.
So, and most of the politicians you still have to admit are probably white males.
Right.
Not all, it's changing, but still dominated heavily by white males. In my hospital, hell, I feel it's 50-50, maybe not 50-50 because there's so many cultures within my hospital. It still might be more white dominated, but it's like 50% white, 50% everybody else, as opposed to, not just 50% white, 50% non-white almost. Not necessarily black white, but we have so many cultures. The melting pot here is crazy.
How's Taco Tuesday been? Anything changed?
Get me started.
Huh?
Don't get me started.
Has it gotten worse?
There's not been a Taco Tuesday since. There was a Taco Friday once.
What the fuck's happening here?
Which was and I was okay with it having on Friday, but it was.
But did it not have the stuff?
It didn't have all the stuff. It didn't have that kimchi and all that random shit that they had that one day. It was more taco-like, and it was 3 soft shell tacos is what you got for it, and they didn't stuff them like very full. And it's very bland but all hospital food is kind of bland. I think they have to make it that way. It's kind of weird because this new cafeteria, and I was just talking to my boss about it today because she complains about some things with the new cafeteria as well. There's some things that are I'll look at it and I'll be like, that's kind of cool. Like they did this, they grilled some stuff in grill, like a China wok grill. They threw it in a wok and like cooked a bunch of stuff in front of you, like individual servings.
Right.
And it took a while to get there, but it was like really tasty and it was something different. And it was relatively cheap. And I was like, oh, that one's good. That's cool. I'd come do this again. But then they have something the next day that looks good, and it's like the most terrible thing you've ever eaten. Or they have something that you're just like, I'm not even going to bother because all this shit looks terrible. Like they got rid of the common basics of what they should be serving here. So I
remember the worst food poisoning. Well, maybe second worst food poisoning I've ever had in my life came from when my dad was sick with cancer and he was in the hospital, and me and my grandma ate something in the cafeteria there, and we were just bedridden for like 3 days with just the worst, like puking shit, and it was awful.
If you get food poisoning from a cafeteria, a hospital cafeteria, that's a huge problem.
I know, right? Like, I mean, that's why I'm like, in hindsight, like thinking about this now as an adult, like as a child, it didn't really dawn on me that this is a place where people are supposed to be getting well, not getting sick.
Right. I just always get sad at how bland our food can be sometimes, but whatever. You deal with it. I've been getting the salads a lot more, and another thing I want to complain about. They switched from the standard like flat salad clamshell to like this half dome one.
Okay.
It clearly holds less.
Right.
Like you can't put as much stuff in it, and that makes me sad as well. But and they don't have they have different ingredients every day too, because it's one of those ones where you go, I tell them what lettuce I want, and I choose all my toppings from their little thing, and they throw it all on there for you, and then you can get it with chicken or fish or like veggie, and I always get the veggie because usually you can stuff it full of all these different veggies. Every day it's different choices of veggies. Sometimes they have broccoli, sometimes they have cucumbers, sometimes they have
That's
hard-boiled
weird
eggs.
From like
sometimes,
stocking standpoint and stuff. That's wild to me.
I don't know why. And the weird thing is, when this company came in and took over, they decided they needed to use their own vessels for everything. So they changed out basically every vessel, every half pan, every hotel pan, everything to this other style that like looks more stylish, but it doesn't fit perfectly in the like the coal tops that they have. So it's just, you look down at this thing, and it used to be like I could see like my quarter pan and my half pan and all that stuff. Like they fit in perfectly on this thing. There's like air gaps and stuff in between that you can tell when they're scooping some of the eggs. It's like falling down in the middle of this table because there's air gaps between it and the next thing. And it was some certain things. I'm just like, I get it. You probably have a standard stock that you buy when you're like whatever, your Sodexo versus I don't know what another big food company is that's out there. Cintas. Sodexo versus Cintas have different stock that they normally have, but you get the stuff that fits the current table at the place that you're now contracted for. I don't get it. But yeah, from a stocking standpoint, I also thought it was weird. Maybe from a stocking standpoint, they do it based on what they have in stock is what it is that they put out on the salad table. Maybe it's just like that last thing, or maybe they're just feeling it out and they don't have their stocking numbers
they're just working it out
because they
don't, it day by day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess any restaurant that's what they'd be doing, right?
Yeah, totally.
What should my par levels be? And I guess that's I would love to take over that cafeteria and be the director of that cafeteria, and I would make it something that people want. People like the signs they changed, like they have these little stand-up signs that sit in front of all the stations, and what they have, they changed the signs to their own like font and typeface, so it's different than it was before, which was just probably like 16 point Times New Roman or something. It was what it was before, bold on a white piece of paper. Now it's like this curly cued scripty font, and they make it smaller. And so you can tell people are frustrated with it because people are trying to get through the lines just to get closer to the piece of paper to read what the hell are they serving at that station that day and how much does it cost.
Wow. So it's like harder to read, basically?
Yeah. They made it more difficult to read. And they have these big computer monitors that are above all the stations to display all the prices of everything and say what it was, the daily specials of that place. Now they put like a picture of a tomato. And it sometimes flashes over to cucumber.
You know what I actually hate? The last time I went to a fast food place, I think it was Wendy's. And I'm in there trying to order my food, and it's the things you're talking about. But I mean, they did show what they actually sold, but not all the time. Like, here's one menu, and we're gonna fucking rotate that to another menu of other things we sell. But listen, the thing I wanted to know about was on the other menu, and like, this is supposed to be fast food. There's people in line holding shit up here. I don't know what all you have anymore because I don't eat here enough, and that menu's important to me.
That's like driving to. So I didn't work at McDonald's electronic menus, though I know they have those now. And before, when I've gone in there and seen the menu scrolling and I can't see what I'm looking for because it's not showing what I want at the time.
Yeah.
Drive-thrus have always been the worst. They never put that fucking menu in a place where you can see it from the speaker that you're ordering from. And you always pull up to the speaker and then the person's like, can I help you? And you're like, hold on, I'm looking at the menu. And they get like so frustrated because you don't know what you want, but you could never see the fucking menu until you were right there or even driving past it because they're not angled the right way. Or that stuff has just always driven me insane.
Yeah, I don't know why there's not like a row of like a menus before the menu. There should be two menus. There should be the menu before the speaker and then after the speaker. So
there was at the McDonald's I worked at, but the menu before the speaker, they would put like the specials on it, not the normal menu. It was just the weekly special that time.
It's awful. Well, we're also out of time, so I hope you all have enjoyed.
This episode has ranged in topics, man.
Yeah, it has. It went way too long, so I didn't even realize it. So, thanks, everyone.
All right, guys. Look out for us on iTunes.
Bye.
Bye.